So let's get back to the current events. DoorDash delivery apps remove tipping prompt at the checkout in New York City. And
they're blaming the new okay, so they're saying it's because of the impact of the bad policies in New York City.
I just think it's kind of funny because New York City just had an influx of 150,000 migrants.
Mm-hmm.
This is not to be too political, but they had an influx of 150,000 migrants,
Mm-hmm.
and they have the right to bed and stuff like that in New York because that's their policy since the 80s. But then they just need residency for about 6 months, and then they can get jobs like DoorDash and UberEats and stuff like that. So it's weird that UberEats and DoorDash or DoorDash in particular would do this in the city when more influx of people that are getting these jobs are going to be migrants that rely on these tips because some of them come from countries that making $150 a month is like.
Well, it's because New York has changed the minimum pay rate to at least $17.96 per hour.
Right.
So
for these apps specifically.
So they have to pay these people more.
These people who bring us our food.
I didn't mean to make it sound like that. I did not mean to make it sound like that.
I know.
But I mean, it's not evil. No. And it's not just DoorDash, it's Uber Eats too. What they're going to do is they're not allowing a tipping option, but they're going to be adding a new service fee for each transaction, which I'm wondering, is that based of the percentage of what you're purchasing, or is that a one size fits all type of deal, whether I spend $20 or $60?
Yeah, well, see, this is the thing, because these apps now will also go to like Best Buy for you and pick up an iPhone. So do you tip on $1,000 iPhone? 20%, which is $200. So
I'm not a good person to ask because I would just go pick it up myself.
Right, exactly. No, that's understandable. So like, so there's maybe it's they don't want orders to get picked up solely based, because I know if I tip $10 or $15, my order from Uber Eats gets picked up and is brought to me like immediately. Like, but if I just choose whatever tip they recommend to me, the order takes like extra time to get over here. So it's like,
well, yeah. So
maybe that's good. Maybe because it's a smaller area. I live, we're in South Florida, so like maybe it's more localized in how big New York is for how many people one Uber Eats driver can handle in one day. So maybe it's different. I don't know.
Well, there's this one. There's one guy, YouTuber, who had a video who was talking about that the way he worked around it was on the message. He would say he would put cash tip.
Yeah.
So they knew that there was going to be cash.
Yeah.
And so that it kind of guaranteed, because he would do what you would do, where he would tip very well ahead of time, but because they already received their tip, they just took their time getting to them because they already got their money. So instead, he started putting cash tip. Tip will be in cash, and it gave them incentive to kind of get it faster so they can get a better tip.
Yeah, okay.
And that worked for him. I don't know where he was. I don't know where he is, but that worked for him. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
And my thing is, that's I guess something that I'm wondering what it would look like if they made it for restaurants, where it's like no more tipping. We're going to pay our people what we should be paying them, and what does that do to the price of food and whatnot? But they don't tip in like Europe.
Yeah, no.
So
they pay people a living wage,
right? But is the food that much more expensive? Like I'm asking.
I don't think it's different. I think food is similarly. I'm sure there's places where it's harder to get certain ingredients, and maybe those dishes are more expensive. But like, I don't know. I don't think DoorDash doing this is in favor of the employee. I have a feeling it's more in favor of the customer. Which is understandable, because gaining more customers ensures that their delivery people have jobs.
Well, actually,
so
it's going to have the opposite effect, because now for someone who Okay, for people who tip normally,
Mm.
oh, now it's just a service fee. Got it. For people who don't tip, who are skimpy,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not one of them. Just putting that out there. Um, they're looking at it like, well, I have to pay more for my meal now.
Yeah,
So it actually could hurt
it could hurt them.
them in that frame.
It could hurt them.
Oh my gosh, here we go. BXY says, "Love the shirt and hat. Thank you."
Yeah.
Zach says, "Full Metal Jacket was the
Full
best
Metal
movie of the year,
of the century.
of the century."
Nice.
It's a good movie.
Yes.
It didn't come out this year, but I hear you, Zach. I hear you. Marley says, "Are you in New York City?" No.
We are in
And
SoFlo.
I'm South Florida. We're in South Florida.
SoFlo.
We're in South Florida.
Yeah.
BXNY says, "New York, the greatest place on earth."
Nice.
Agree to disagree.
Nice word.
Yeah. So we'll see how this goes, because they are
Mhm.
definitely throwing they are putting all of the reasoning like on New York, because they don't want any of the backlash. They're saying, let's see what they call it here. Okay. DoorDash made an extensive push to explain how the updates would allow it to better balance the impact of bad policies in New York City for everyone who uses our platform. So they are throwing New York under the bus, like, guys, it's not us, it's New York and their new laws, and I haven't looked into it to know. So we were just covering a current event, Marley. It's not affecting us right now, but it may be something that they want to institute in the future. So who knows? Who knows? So I don't know. I don't know. I know that everywhere I go now, I'm checking out. There's always a, choose your tip option, even if I'm not sitting in a restaurant. I'm like, oh, but I'm just taking the cup from you.
Away. Yeah.
I'm just taking the cup from you. Like I came to get it. You didn't even bring it to me. So, all right.